Most people think inflation is just a small increase in prices each year, something that barely affects their daily life. But over time, inflation quietly reduces the purchasing power of money in ways that are easy to overlook. Even when incomes rise, they often fail to keep pace with the real cost of housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and other essentials, meaning people can technically earn more while still feeling financially behind. The real impact shows up slowly. Savings buy less than they used to, budgets feel tighter, and long-term goals become harder to reach without clear explanation. The challenge is that this loss doesn't appear as a single dramatic event, but as a gradual erosion of financial strength year after year. Today we will talk about how ordinary people are losing $1,000 to inflation every year. So, before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to my channel. 10. Most people notice prices rising but don't understand the real loss. When people talk about inflation, they usually mention it in simple terms. Groceries are more expensive, rent is higher, fuel costs more, and everyday life feels pricier than before. But what most people do not fully realize is that inflation is not just about rising prices. It is about silent wealth erosion. It reduces the value of money without taking anything directly from your account. This is why many people feel like they are working harder every year but getting less in return. The loss is not always visible in one moment. It is spread across thousands of small financial decisions that quietly add up over time. 9. Inflation slowly reduces purchasing power without warning. One of the most dangerous aspects of inflation is that it does not announce itself in a dramatic way. There is no single moment where money suddenly becomes weaker. Instead, the change happens gradually. The same income that once covered rent, food, transportation, and savings now struggles to cover basic expenses. People adjust slowly by cutting savings, reducing quality of life, or taking on additional work. Because these changes happen step by step, many individuals do not realize how much financial ground they are actually losing each year. 8. Savings lose real value when they are not growing. Many people believe that keeping money in a savings account is completely safe. While the balance may stay the same, its real value often decreases over time when inflation is higher than interest rates. This means that even responsible savers can lose purchasing power without spending a single dollar. The money still looks intact on paper, but what it can actually buy becomes less and less each year. Over long periods, this silent erosion can easily add up to thousands of dollars in lost value, without people noticing. 7. Wage growth often fails to keep up with rising costs. Another hidden problem is that income does not always increase at the same pace as inflation. Even when salaries rise, they often rise slowly compared to essential living costs like housing, food, healthcare, and education. This creates a gap where people feel like they are earning more but still struggling financially. In reality, their purchasing power is shrinking. They may appear financially stable on paper, but their lifestyle becomes harder to maintain over time. 6. Lifestyle adjustments hide the real financial damage. Most people do not feel the full impact of inflation immediately because they naturally adjust their behavior. They switch to cheaper alternatives, reduce spending in certain areas, delay purchases, or cut back on savings. These adjustments help them survive financially in the short term, but they also hide the true cost of inflation. Instead of recognizing a direct loss, people slowly adapt to a lower standard of financial flexibility without realizing how much their long-term wealth potential is being reduced. 5. Inflation quietly increases the cost of future goals. One of the most overlooked effects of inflation is how it changes long-term financial goals. Saving for a house, retirement, education, or major purchases becomes more difficult because the target amount keeps increasing. What once felt like a realistic goal becomes harder to reach each year. This creates frustration and delays in major life decisions. Many people feel like they are falling behind, when in reality the financial target itself is constantly moving upward. 4. Idle cash becomes a long-term losing strategy. Holding large amounts of cash for long periods may feel safe, but inflation slowly reduces its value. This creates a situation where doing nothing financially can actually lead to loss. Money that is not actively working through investing or growth-oriented assets gradually loses purchasing power. Over time, this can result in thousands of dollars in invisible losses, especially for people who keep large savings but never move them into productive financial systems. 3. Small yearly losses compound into large lifetime damage. Inflation does not need to be extreme to cause significant financial damage. Even moderate inflation, when applied consistently over many years, creates a compounding effect in reverse. Each year, money becomes slightly weaker, and that weakness accumulates over time. What feels like a small percentage change annually can become a large gap over decades. This is why many people only realize the impact of inflation much later in life, when they compare their financial position to earlier expectations. 2. Inflation rewards asset owners and penalizes passive holders. One of the most important economic realities is that inflation does not affect everyone equally. People who own assets such as real estate, stocks, or businesses often benefit because asset values tend to rise over time. Meanwhile, people who only hold cash or rely entirely on fixed income are more exposed to purchasing power loss. This creates a widening gap between those who own productive assets and those who do not, even if both groups are earning income. 1. The real truth: inflation is not a one-time cost, it is a continuous wealth reduction system. The deeper truth about inflation is that it does not act like a normal expense. It is a continuous process that quietly reduces financial power every year without direct visibility. Because the truth is simple: inflation slowly erodes savings, reduces purchasing power, increases the cost of long-term goals, and rewards ownership over inactivity. And once you understand that inflation is not just rising prices, but a constant financial force reshaping the value of money over time, you begin to see why many ordinary people lose thousands of dollars every year, not through one mistake, but through a system that quietly works against idle money across every stage of life. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.